This is a
Good time, Charlie?
production.
On your marks, get set, play.
I love that.
Good flavor.
That I really like.
That is delicious.
Bakers, your time is up.
Whew. You know, I liked that it was pointed out that part of this challenge this week was simply not baking. More people need to say that shit out loud. It's Creme Patissier. It's a Great British Bake Off podcast. Only currently we are reviewing the Great American Baking Show Series 6. This is episode 4, Pastry Week. Always a good time. And you'll always, you will really separate your wheat from your chaff this go round. But I gotta say, real strong bakes this week across the board. And how we lost somebody was based just on, I think, just sorry for your luck, you know?
And I want to mention this before we even move too much forward. They had a hard time picking who was going to be Star Baker this week.
I disagree with that notion because the person who was Star Baker was Star Baker. It was clean Star Baker.
I'm talking. Oh, and when you go back and look, Prue and Paul was just like, I've never seen that in all my time watching this show, American and Abroad. They was just like,
Hey, you ain't wrong, but yeah, still. I mean, you know what it is. Each and every week, we give y'all a little something in the realm of news, and this week won't be no different. So let me let y'all know that bakers make the world go round. A factual statement: bakers do indeed make the world go round. And we gets down with the get down on that one. I got a couple stories for you this week. One is super duper long, so it will be. It is already in your show. You don't know that I've written these notes, but I have, and so I'm not gonna read you the whole thing of it. But I think it's nifty. It's from the good people at the New York Times. Just showed up in my good New York Times newsletter this morning. Prue Leith's Great American Road Trip.
oh,
The Great
nice.
British Baking Show judge steps out of the tent to sample the flavors of the U.S. on a 2,200-mile drive. Written by Prue Leith.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. 'Cause we give him bylines. Published July 3rd, but updated July 5th. Last fall, my husband and I set our hearts on renting an RV for a road trip from LA to Florida. We managed picnicking on mountaintops in New Mexico, sleeping under the stars in Texas, and barbecuing prawns. The RV would come with a grill, of course, on the Mississippi Levee. In the end, our 2,200-mile American journey ended up being memorable, but for none of those reasons. We can't accept anyone over 70 with a British driver's license, insisted the woman on the phone. I'm 83 and I'm in my head. But in my head, I'm a sprightly 60. And my husband, John, is 76. Nobody had warned us about the potential obstacle. If they had the same age cutoff for Americans, I thought the RV business would collapse. We called another company. Their rep said he'd never heard of any age restriction. No problem, he said. We've got the perfect RV for you. Except it was 45 feet long. The thought of parking something that size, the size of a London bus, was too much, even for my gung-ho husband. Common sense prevailed, and we rented a Ford Explorer. All right, so this, I guess she goes through some of the states, and this first one is New Mexico, salsa and sticker shock. We were overdue for a break. Aside from my usual job eating cake as a judge on the Great British Baking Show, the Great British Bake Off, we were respected here in this organization. I'd been doing trial runs of my own one-woman stage show in Britain and the United States, and it had been exhausting. So, before we set off on our great adventure, we rented a mobility scooter for 2 and hit the boardwalks at Venice Beach in LA.
Nice.
But our crawl through the deafeningly loud music, junk food, and stands selling shorts emblazoned with vulgar words and messages like "beat me" did little to re-energize our spirits. On the day we left California, torrents of rain were falling. By the time we crossed into Arizona, the sun had exploded over the hills in a glorious display of opera lighting. We made it as far as Santa Fe, New Mexico, where our hotel, the Venesi, a charming collection of wooden buildings around a courtyard, was like everywhere, suffering from a lack of staff. A single employee handed us a laminated notice. Our restaurant, room service, and bar are currently closed. A $30 service charge will be added to your bill.
Jesus.
Happily, Vera Vinoteca across the street was open. We ate tiny padron, P-A-D with an R exit over the O-N, peppers. So if y'all know what that is, let a guy know. Stuffed with cream cheese and cumin, tuna ceviche and pineapple salsa, and a small bowl of warm, slightly curried mussels in the shell. All served with a flight of 4 glasses of different California Cabernet Sauvignons. Again, goes from there. One, I like Prue's writing style a lot. So I'm definitely going to read the rest of that. And like I said, it's in your show notes. It is from the New York Times. So, I mean, I pay a couple of bucks for the New York Times. I don't get the whole of the New York Times. I basically get just like some segments. And this one, I'm allowed to get. So if it comes up and you don't have it or you can't see it, let me know. We'll figure it out. Okay.
It's interesting that they chose to drive across the bottom of the country because, it take you 3 days to drive across Texas.
And, they owe and ain't nobody trying to have to drive through potentially snow. Because whenever it was raining bad in Cali, I thought it was kind of cold elsewhere in this country. So, assuming that's when all this occurred, but still. But, yeah, the art for this is so... quick screenshot. I just want y'all to see the image they use for it because it's really cool. In my opinion, entire screen.
That's dope, though. Like I will probably read that if I can put it in my pocket.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, I love it. So I dig Miss Prue Leaf. I just like we've talked about Prue, and Prue was missing. We was missing like some of us. It was like they took half my heart when she was gone for a week. Poor sick baby.
It's also a nice little possibility model too to see some like older people doing something like that. Like, we still got a lot of time left.
Oh yeah. Respect that. Damn right. Sent me this one a few weeks back. It sourced off of Yahoo, but it bounced over to People, so it's from People when it's all said and done. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds visit Great British Bake Off judges Paul Hollywood and Prue Leith on set. The celebrity couple have both shared their baking attempts on social media over the years. Kimberly Speakman and Jenny Howard are on the byline here. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are big fans of the Great British Bake Off. The Deadpool actor 46 shared an enthusiastic snap with the host of the popular baking show, Paul Hollywood and Prue Leith, as he raved about getting to visit the set. Soon after, Hollywood shared a snap with Lively 35 on his Instagram page, revealing she too had dropped by. In his Instagram photo, Reynolds could be seen in a casual green, why did they do that? In a casual green button-up shirt and jeans, smiling brightly as he slung an arm around Hollywood and Leith.
Oh, it's People.
A full and unconditional hug of pure serotonin, he captioned the post. The host looked equally excited as Leith was wearing her signature bright colors with a bright pink and orange patterned shirt with matching bright pink glasses, smiled widely at the camera, and Hollywood wearing a blue button-down shirt and jeans excitedly pointed to the actor. Great catching up, Hollywood wrote in the comment section, while friend of the couple, Gigi Hadid, shared an excited comment, Ryan, followed by a pie emoji. Hollywood later revealed that Lively had also visited the set a few hours after Reynolds' post. The silver-haired baker shared a photo to Instagram that showed him sitting next to the actress as she laughed and placed her hand on his arm. He even added a cheeky caption directed at co-host Lee. Sorry, Prue. Blake has taken your seat. Welcome to Cake Corner, Blake. And some hashtags that I'm really not going to read. And I have to wonder why you wrote them. But okay, whatever. He wrote. Like, why don't you I guess you have to tell the whole story. And those hashtags are in my man's post. So Lively is no stranger to baking, sharing her own watermelon cake on Instagram in 2021. The benefits of being a hoarder, number 492. you're at the ready with your Betty Crocker bacon fill that you haven't used since you were 17. The
Mm.
moment when someone requests a watermelon cake. Shout out to all my fellow as seen on TV nuts pulling out the Euro seal next. She captioned
exactly
the video,
what that is.
which showed her slicing into an impressive sweet treat. Hold on, I must immediately look up the Euro seal. And that is Euro seal. Window? What is this? All I see is stuff to seal windows. I don't know what Euro seal actually was at its time, but that's what I'm seeing. That's all that comes up in Google in this day and age. How funny.
I think that I know what she's talking about. I don't know that it's called Euro seal. I didn't know that it was called Euro seal, but there's like that as seen on TV, dual cake maker pan thing that they used to have on every fucking commercial.
That one I knew when she was talking about the watermelon cakes. I remember that the bacon fill. Because basically you could like
so Euro seal was a different thought. Okay, I was like, what the hell?
So all together. Anyway, that one here. This one's kind of short. I'll finish the rest of it. She captioned the video while showed her slicing the price. Okay. Her husband, meanwhile, might need some help from the professional bakers in the tent. In 2018, he hilariously took to Instagram to show off a supposed baking fail when he tried to bake a strawberry-covered cake for his wife, Blake Lively. I mean, yes, we know she's his wife. Some weird writing styles here. To go from Prue's really graceful writing to this chunky ass shit is bothersome. I baked this cake for my wife. The icing is glue because I'm not a scientist. Reynolds captioned the photo holding up the dessert while looking a bit unsure of the sweet treat himself. However, that wasn't his only baking failure, as the previous year in December, the star also attempted to make a batch of cookies, but they didn't exactly turn out gourmet or look like cookies at all, for that matter. Lively made light of the incident by showing off the cookies on Instagram, writing, Van City Reynolds made some Christmas cookies. He's very handsome, though. That is the entirety of that article, but it will be in your show notes. So you can click on all the links they have within there and enjoy the tales they tell here. Man, bakers made the world go round, people. I'm just going to tell you that. And while we at it, let's talk about who remains in the tent. We have none other than Captain Diana O'Brien, who can pilot a boat up to 49 feet long, we found out in this episode.
He can just do everything.
Yeah. But what? She can't beat the charges, people. Can't beat the charges.
She's still not beating them allegations. There's not one thing I've learned about her that makes me go, oh, maybe we've got that wrong.
Yeah. For real. Martin Sawyer still in the chat. Narali Chauhan is still in the chat. Sarah Chang still in the chat. Sean Liu still in the chat. Suzanne Simpson still in the tent. It's a good time to be had this week, people. Pastry week always shows your skills off, and this one was no different. First up, signature 12 identical handheld tarts. 1 hour, 45 minutes to complete. Let's go through it.
So a Pop-Tart, but you just can't put it in the toaster.
Even as they talked about it, they kept being like, oh, we used to have a handheld tart. Well, I was like, okay, guy, I know what you mean. I know you can't say what it is, but trust me, I've also been to a lovely restaurant in the Poughkeepsie area called Ted's Bulls, and they make Pop-Tarts there that are glorious. If I'm in the area, we swing by there and grab some if possible, because sometimes they don't got them.
Do you go to one particular location? We could talk offline, but there are a couple different locations. And I think one is more geared toward popping in to pick up a pastry, and the other is more of the sit-down restaurants.
It's the sit-down one we go to. If you walk in it, they got what looks like an old school TV kind of right in the foyer early area.
And the booths are like really dark brown wood.
Yeah, that's the one we've been to.
It's on the street with a letter.
Yeah, that's U Street.
Okay.
There's another one.
I feel good about that.
Yeah. I mean, you were very close. There's another one. Offline. I'll tell y'all where the one you should go to next time.
Yeah, I went to another one that looked like a more of a like a punk rock neighborhood. See,
you were probably on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
What is that neighborhood called? I can't think right now, but yes.
Very good. Very good. Well, Neurali's up first. Strawberry Valentines, basically elevated Pop-Tarts is what I wrote. Filled with strawberry and frangipane. Frangipane, in case you didn't know, is a velvety almond cream blended with a touch of vanilla. Topped with lemon icing and strawberry dust. Diana went with raspberry and marsala tart made with fresh, dried, and powdered raspberry for a punch of flavor. An almond pastry with the raspberry and marsala wine filling. Topped with a jungle-inspired design made from rosewater icing. Rectangle shape. She went with the rectangle shape, which they was kind of like, you sure about that? And as it turns out, no, she was not. Just because I love having these little tidbits. Marsala wine is a fortified wine from Sicily, mostly used for cooking to create nutty, rich, caramelized sauces per winefolly.com. A fortified wine, because I now feel like I need to tell you what a fortified wine is a wine that has had a distilled spirit, usually brandy, added to it. It's basically punched with alcohol in it. Susan's up next, going with an apple cheddar breakfast pastry. The ideal to me was sound. The execution, well, a sweet short crust filled with an apple paste and a slice of cheddar. Decorated with almond icing and topped with a miniature apple made of short crust and one of cheese. Like everything about that was like, yeah, that should work, right? Anyway, Sarah made sour cherry handheld tart shaped like basketballs, topped with almond icing. And Prue was like, that seems challenging or whatever turn of phrase Prue used. And Sarah was like, bro, let me tell you, circles is easy. Right. I was like, you're right. Circles is easy and they normally hold up. So she found what worked well for her. Martin, other Chicagoan, with the cherry theme for his tart cherry tarts, filled with cherry compote, decorated with cherry and almond icing paste, but the pastry is made with rye flour. Remember that, okay?
Put a pin there.
Yeah. And Sean with PB&J hand tarts, a whiskey short crust that was only mentioned there when in the picture, whiskey short crust, and never talked about again. No one mentioned that short crust. No one said anything about the whiskey. Nothing about it was ever said again on the rest of this program. Filled with strawberry jam and scratch-made peanut butter. The reason I say it's scratch-made is because he made a kind of a steak. Like, man, I wanted to use just some cheap American peanut butter because I know what it tastes like. He had to make his own, but I think that I know it paid off in the end because he figured out how he had to make peanut butter, which is, yeah, you grind some peanuts. But he's like, it ain't doing nothing. Let me throw a little peanut oil in it, which is like, yes, Sean, that's how peanut butter is made.
Well, if you've only ever had like Jiffy and not a jar of real peanut butter that separates, you don't really know.
But I do. Me.
I mean, not you. I'm saying not you. I'm saying a person, like, because honestly, I was a grown adult the first time I got a jar of organic peanut butter. I was like, what? I was like, oh.
What this oil doing on top?
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh.
That's one of the old school conversations me and Aunt used to have about the peanut butter that would separate and how you had to stir that shit up with the knife.
So I'm wondering, with him adding the alcohol, is it kind of like when you add in vodka to a pie crust?
I don't know. Like I said, they never spoke to it again. I would have loved to know what was involved with that process, what it meant to it.
Wait, what happens when you add vodka to a pie crust?
It's okay. So if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong here, but when you add like cold vodka, it kind of keeps the dough together because it's kind of like it evaporates slower than if you're doing water. It would like the crust would stay colder longer. But I'm gonna look it up so I don't sound dumb here. So you guys keep vamping.
It's all good. We'll carry on with the Sean situation. Well, anyway, like I said, what it comes down to is like I said, he had to do this from scratch. Prue came through and was like, I don't even bang with peanut butter, which most of Europe doesn't. It's one of them known knowns. Like people in Europe just don't fuck with peanuts or peanut butter.
That's so
like
wild to me. Like she had never tried peanut butter and jelly together. The concept for her was so foreign. And I know that I've had that moment watching, the Over the Seas joint, but it was just like, this is the most American thing besides apple pie is peanut butter and jelly.
It's like, and I guess basically, the rest of the world that eats peanuts is mostly Asia. And for them, it's all savory stuff. They're not usually making like sweet stuff. So it's like, we are the weirdos when it comes down to it. But, George Washington Carver spin that shit for a reason, and we're going to put some respect on his name.
Right. And we're also now a generation away from PB&J because so many people have developed peanut allergies that it's not like as common as it used to be anymore.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's all, the turn of phrase nut butter bothers me on so many ends because, saying right, sunflower seed and cashews and almonds. I'm like, don't say nut butter. It's gross. It's gross. It's disgusting.
Yeah, just call it whatever it is, butter. Almond. Almond butter.
Which does not look. It never like I'll be looking at the shelf at Target like that don't look good. It might be.
It don't.
But that's me.
It's not.
I can't bump peanut butter.
It's gritty.
That's what I eat.
It's gritty.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Judging goes down like this. Diana's up first. Remember, she made rectangles and they said, should you be doing that? And she was like, I'm gonna do it. I can do it. And what is Paul's first word? Inconsistent size. Because guess what? You couldn't do it. Because dough is weird. That's the one thing I love about pastry. Pastry fickle as fuck, bro. You think you know what you're doing. You be measuring and cutting and measuring twice and cutting once. And it still be like, nah, man, I puffed up. Weird. You know what I'm saying? The jams run out of it. The decoration, not good. Delicious, crumbly, flaky, buttery pastry. Not too sweet. But basically, he was like, that looked like just a blob of color, and I would have just, spun it and like basically, whipped the icing on there, and hopefully it would have, looked nicer. And she did not do those things. But basically, this one was saved by how it tasted. Sean, Prue learns to love peanut butter. Pastry is buttery, crumbly, light, and she loves it. Had this been where Sean started and only went up,
right?
Alas.
It's funny. This was like my favorite part of the episode because I was nervous. I'm like, is she gonna like it? Like, what? Exactly. How is peanut butter hitting for the first time for somebody? And she did not disappoint me. She was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll snack it," or whatever she said.
the English, the South African English woman version of smacking, whatever that is.
Yeah. She was like, "Oh, you did that."
Susan's up next. The apple-shaped decoration looks like a rabbit's head, is what Paul said.
Poor Susan.
For real. Let's see. Why add vodka? The ethanol in the vodka stops the gluten in the flour from binding, making it more tender and flaky crust. Things I learned today, people, about how to get my pie crust flaking. Cheese and apple work quite well together, but the pastry is quite soggy and a little tough. How you manage both that?
Soggy and tough.
Wet and hard. You know
I don't know. How do you make a cake taste like scrambled eggs?
Man, you got that.
I can't let it go. I can't let it go. Not like Susan.
Not quite baked. And see, this is where I was like, damn, if they're gonna send my old bird home. It was like I said, this is one of the ones where you could not take anything from the from Signature. But then at the same time, you could take everything from Signature. Anyway, let's stop.
Right.
Martin loved the star, but the splodge of icing is not quite so neat. Perhaps you meant it to be modern art. The Prue came through with the fucking thing out. I was like, damn, Prue, was that necessary? However, they are consistent in size. Prue thinks it definitely tastes of rye and likes it. Paul, on the other hand, crumbles the pastry into dust. Y'all, look like he was playing in a sandcastle.
Dust.
He was just like, let me show you something, baby. And he thinks like literally, I actually wrote to dust. How funny. Needs a bit of white flour. Prue disagrees fully, and it's like, yes. I think the cherry filling compensates for the dryness of the pastry. which I write here in my notes, meaning they both know that pastry is dry.
That's fuck.
Interesting. I didn't think about it like that.
Prue was just like, I'm cool with it. So there's the difference. For Sarah, nicely baked, even, really nice. The intensity. Paul loves the intensity of the flavor. Zach Cherry bumps in here. So would you call it a slam dunk? And Prue's like, yeah, I would. And then they go, Paul, yeah, it's a slam dunk. He's like, he was one of like, fine, y'all. You weirdo.
You didn't want to let him have it.
Yeah. If he would have flipped a football term, maybe Paul would have been more on that shit. I don't know.
Which you should have done a soccer ball. It's a little bit more decorating challenge.
I like that she was like, these shits remind me of eating Pop-Tarts at basketball practice, and I'm going to make basketballs. I'm like, there you go, girl.
It was cute. It was just a cop-out. Like, she just drew 3 lines.
And did not miss. So the difference, I think the thing is there is what she did do, she executed it absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, I'm just saying she literally drew 4 lines on each of her things.
That was lovely and tasted good. That's all that needed to happen.
And they didn't leak like most other people's did.
Right.
Like, yeah, for sure. Nirali likes the look. They are pale. Pastry is lovely, flaky. The strawberry really comes through well. They were, to me, the best looking of what everybody made. She had these little cuts in them. She had these little hearts on them, sprinkled a little strawberry powder on them. So they really looked neat. And I thought that, but they did need a little more color on them. They was just this side of too light. So
to me, Nirali is this season's Maxi for me. She is an excellent decorator, but the clock gonna get her every time.
Every time. It's like, it's so worrisome. Your technical challenge this week set by Miss Prue Leith, 12 identical stuffed churros. Got to be made with choux pastry, filled with spiced chocolate ganache and coated in cinnamon and sugar, with only an hour and 15 minutes to make it happen. Now, a choux pastry is an easy thing to whip up. If you've been baking hard, that is something you can easily come together. Your fry time only has to be about 3 minutes. So I know why they made this shit so short, but boy, howdy.
Are churros typically stuffed with chocolate ganache?
No, they usually serve it on the side with a little ramekin of chocolate that you can dip it in.
So I've had them like with nothing inside. And then if there was something inside, it was like more of a caramel situation and not ganache, and definitely not chocolate. Yeah.
So like, I don't want, maybe you should know, Mexican style hot chocolate, like the thick kind, like it's like, It's usually they kind of go hand in hand together in more traditional
like at a restaurant. I'm talking about like I'll just run up to the churro stand at the
Usually when you catch it with like chocolate or something like that, it's like at a fast casual place or somewhere where they take it from frozen to flash fried or something.
Like Applebee's.
That is who would make this kind of shit. But also, we know from experience, they are terrible with Mexican food over there.
Oh, my God. My God.
So this is just, I feel like, further proof of that. It's like, basically, she wanted some Applebee's style, churros. And
I mean, she was on a road trip, and they stayed up until midnight.
Yay. There you go.
Well, also, it's, another element because they got to stuff it. And, I understand to raise the degree of difficulty slightly.
You know what they didn't have to do? Bake a goddamn thing. Every bit of this challenge is stovetop.
Not one bake.
No. And still to my core, it bothers me when they do stuff like this. It's like making hamburgers is not baking. Frying up churros
donuts?
Is not baking.
How do you feel about donuts?
There are baked donuts, cake donuts, you know what I'm saying? Can be baked. So I feel like you got an option there, but this right here was a it's a frying situation. I don't know, man. It's the bake off. Call that shit something different if you want people frying up shit. Call it the fry off or something. I don't know. Judging goes down
Hosted
like
by
this.
Stephen Fry.
Susan, color not too bad. Nice texture, lovely flavor, nice. Have we ever explained how the technical works for those who may not be watching the show? Technical challenge is a surprise. Basically, they go up with to their tables covered with a tablecloth. They pull it off and like, this is what you're doing, and you better do it well. But also, it's judge blind, so the judges don't know who they're judging, but we know because they put the pictures in front of the things they're serving, and so I know and we know that Susan was the first one being judged. Like I said, color not bad, nice texture, lovely flavor, overall nice. Martin is up next, piped on a tray clearly, but the size is nice and is as well as the color, crispy, and the ganache is good. Diana, who talked that shit like she had just made the greatest churros ever to be created. It was so weird to see her talk that shit, and then we get to her judging, and they like, a bit soggy. The fat clearly was not hot enough, not fried properly, almost raw inside. I love how Paul says raw with that R at the end.
He butchered that.
Nirali, everything about this made me laugh and laugh and laugh. A big fat one. Huge. Some a bit banana shaped. More difficult to do if they're big. Too airy for churros, but should have a little bite. Too airy for churros. They should have a little bite to them. But very nice and light, though. It's like, which one was it, man? Is it Ujiwali or One Mic as always? Because Paul was like, nah, these is too light. And then Prue was like, I like them because they light. And then Paul's like, yeah, it is kind of good. So it's like you know what it is. Sean's, no, not saleable. Paul said he would speak to the manager and have them ask them what they were, if they had any idea what they were doing. He would complain to the baker. And then he was like, I've done it before. And I'm just like, I bet your ass has. You certainly seem like a motherfucker who would have been like, what is we doing here?
Paul or Kevin?
Going to the damn Starbucks, like, what the hell is this?
Burnt. Just straight up and down. Burnt. Now, I know what burnt is. Them wasn't quite there, but they was dark.
They was the darkest ones. They look like little Tootsie Rolls.
Sarah's, not bad. Straight, pretty identical even. A little dark, but actually a beautiful caramel color to them. Ganache goes all the way through. Tastes delicious. Ganache is good. All a good size.
Yes. It's just so funny that he was so mad at how big those churros are. I'm like, it's like a quarter of the size of the churro. I won't. Give me a foot long wrapped in a little piece of paper,
with a little
bruh.
piece of butter saying wax paper at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, sir, like, what is these like mini churros y'all making? But I guess.
Right. Also, do they think it's called churros, plural? Because they would not talk about a single churro ever. Everything was churros.
And I realize how the difference in pronunciation is going to sound so slight, but churro is what we say, and they sound like they were saying churros.
Churros, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, that's a weird. Again, the English don't be trying with other people's language. They simply don't. They refuse to even attempt to get it right. They just say it how they gonna say it, and that's it.
But that's, I've learned during the pandemic in a Twitter thread that America got that shit bad too, because it's hella like names of cities in America that are literal French words, and we will pronounce it however the fuck.
We have a city in Ohio spelled Russia. Just how you spell Russia. And they pronounce that shit Russia.
Wow.
Just no attempts, just none at all. And you're right. We get it from our daddy, and so we be doing it too.
Yup.
Ranking is as follows: number 6, Sean, burnt, badly burnt.
They were not badly burnt. This fool has never seen a black ass piece of something come out of fryer if he thinks this is badly burnt. I feel like you could eat Sean's, and with enough chocolate, yeah, they would just be hella crispy. Yeah,
all sins could be covered. Yeah,
yeah.
Diana, a bit underfried, soggy in the middle. So you go from well overcooked to not cooked enough, and it's just so funny that they laid out like that. Number 4 was Nirali. Number 3 was Susan. Number 2, Martin. Pretty good. Pretty decent. Just not as good as number 1. which is damn. Like damn it with faint praise, whatever, you know what I'm saying? With faint praise, it's like, sorry, guy, you good, but you ain't that good. Number one is, of course, Sarah, giving them exactly what they asked for. Light, really crisp, just the right amount of chili in the chocolate. Perfect. They don't bandy that about that often, especially when Prue Leaf. Prue Leaf is like, you know what I'm saying? We love her because she's so sweet, but most of the time she's not so evocative with her praise. And in this case, I think Sarah just really bited it. And with such a good signature, she was just flying high. Especially because you know she's coming like the bottom of the table all 3 weeks prior to this when it comes to the technical challenge. Just bad.
Just as a contestant, she's my least favorite kind of contestant, just kind of riding the middle and then a burst of something near the end. And it's like, where was this? Like I barely just learned her name last episode.
Yeah,
she go on it. I'm sorry.
From the beginning, like I wrote down from I think like week 2, I felt like she was a sleeper. Like she was my sleeper baker. But this was the first time I felt like somebody who won Star Baker was gonna go home this week. I guess not really. I'll take that back. I won't even say that.
It's all good. She dialed it in this week, and I just respect it. I was like, wow, this was your week, and it's funny because like they didn't give her much love in signature. They were just like, yeah, you did that shit right, and that was it. And they kind of moved on, which is so interesting because they kind of hung about everybody else, but it's like everybody else did something wrong and had to get talking to. Where she did it so right, she got nothing. She was like, all right, on your way. And that was interesting to see go down like that. But Showstopper, a decorative tiered pie. 3 tiers minimum, elaborate, highly decorative, 4 hours to complete. Nick Jew, you showstopped off these pies?
No. How the fuck you gonna ask somebody to make a gigantic pie? I would have been more impressed with one huge pie. I don't want to see a stack of pies. And then, did you make a savory pie at the bottom and then put sweet pie on the top? What? Is it crack? Is it crack? Because somebody's smoking something. I don't want chicken and fucking blueberry pie on the same plate. What is this?
You immediately are going to be forced to separate them to keep from, cutting the apricots down into the chicken.
I don't
Which
even
might
want
be
the aroma.
What might go hard though. Now I think about it.
Sure, but that was like vegetables and shit, like broccoli and yam and shit. Like none of it. I don't want the aroma of fucking Sunday dinner seeping up into my chocolate pie or whatever.
You are correct. You are certainly correct. All right, let's go through what everybody was trying to make and see what we can make sense of. Nirali went with an Indian 3-course dinner tower. Hot water crust is what she was using. Most people use for their crust because it's a hearty ass crust. And in case you don't know, hot water crust is made by heating water, melting fat into the hot water, and then adding the flour to it. Her top pie was filled with spiced paneer, paneer bourgie, a fresh acid-set cheese. And in case you're wondering, an acid-set cheese is an acid-set or sour milk cheese is cheese that has been curdled by natural souring from lactic acid bacteria or the addition of acid. Queso Blanco and cream cheese are other examples of such cheeses. Next layer was spiced lamb and provolone. And spiced potato is the bottom tier, which turned out to have some coconut in it, which again wasn't mentioned when when they were describing what she was making, but came up in the judging. And I was like, I would have liked to know more about that. It was some editing shit this week that I was just like, I would have liked to have known some more about that whiskey short crust and as well about that particular layer with coconut mixed with potato and so forth and so on.
So that's probably curry.
A coconut curry, yeah, for sure. But let me know that.
Yeah. And see, like her making 3 savory pies, great.
Yeah,
sure.
Hell yeah, I'm all about that. Good old Indian shit, hook it up. And actual Indian shit, and not what we've come to know is like, chicken marsala. No, is it marsala? No. What's the Indian dish?
Masala, chicken tikka masala.
Chicken tikka masala. Was invented in the late 70s.
But marsala is also like Indian. It's just a mix of spices.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that's some us shit that they made toward our palate. So that's what's popping there. Martin's up next. His urban herb garden pie tower. Apparently, Martin has been growing herbs even in his apartments back in the day when he lived in the city itself and not out in the burbs where he is now, where he continues to grow stuff. And he went with a hot water crust. His pies were a chicken leek and tarragon pie for the bottom, for the base. And then he made a short crust for his apricot and rosemary tier, and which was in the middle, and a short crust for the lemon verbena cheesecake on the top.
Crack. It's crack. It has to be crack.
Anthony appreciates rosemary for, I believe, in your poultry dishes you use rosemary, right? You using rosemary anywhere else?
No, I mean, not really. Like poultry. Potatoes, of course. Like,
Okay.
Man, I love frying up some French fries and putting fresh rosemary at the bottom. Like, I mean, when I take them out, hot fries on the rosemary, but
yeah. But it ain't going to your damn dessert pie, is what you're telling me.
Nah.
Yeah.
Maybe in my shampoo.
Don't some people put, am I mistaken, rosemary in like their stuffing for turkey for Thanksgiving or whatever?
Yeah, that might be and what's that that spice? With poultry season, it has like it's rosemary, sage
and some other shit mixed into it.
But that's still like poultry, but never in like no cheesecake and shit. That's kind of weird.
Susan went with an ode to farmers, using a variation of Paul's hot water crust recipe that he was not too happy that she tinkered with. Because she was like, I don't fuck with your shit, my guy. I'm sorry. and well, we'll get there. Her what she's been put up is a lemon peel and mint hot water crust, which I'm like, I don't want you using mint for some things, and that is one of them. Crust filled with blueberries, but also some candied pineapple and a cream cheese filling. I liked, of all the ones, I liked hers. I found to be one of the most interesting looking situations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. Sean with a San Francisco conservatory pie, a flower conservatory. Apparently, San Francisco has many a flower conservatory. Sure. He went with a hot water crust. Two of those crusts were going to be filled with Japanese curry, and the third with a ginger blueberry cream cheese kind of vibe. Sarah, Midwest is the best pie tower.
Just a note, it's a real place. It's like a huge. I've been one time because I have really bad allergies. It's like a very. I think that it's in Golden Gate Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So yeah. Kind of like the. Yeah. So
it's a botanical garden.
I wonder why he went with conservatory as his turn of phrase.
Like a conservatory for studying something.
Yeah, but that's how he described it, a flower conservatory, but a botanical garden. It clicks in my mind a little easier, but maybe, I don't know, maybe some English turns of phrase or something right there.
I think it's because in my mind, when I think of a conservatory, I think of it as like a place where you study something, but I think in this sense, it means the literal, like we are conserving
the plant life.
Yeah.
Logical. Sarah's Midwest is the best pie tower. Filled peach, blueberry. Basically she has a peach pie, a blueberry pie, but the top of the pie is a corn pie decorated with a cherry meringue. I live, I guess, I say this all the time to people, I live on the eastern edge of the Midwest. So I know some Midwestery, but I don't know some Midwestery, and I have never heard of somebody making sweet corn pie. Just never have, and maybe you got to travel a little further west to get there.
I think
But
sometimes we be getting blamed for shit that like I'm like, nah, man, that ain't us. We won't be doing
this
that.
is not. I know they want to be like Ohio. They hear you. People hear Ohio and they think Midwest because that's what we get laid claims on, and it's just like, nah, man. We are 90 minutes away from what I consider the furthest East Coast city, and that's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Which, if you went to Pittsburgh, you'd be like, oh yeah, this looks very much like an East Coast city, and we are like 90 minutes west of that, and so it's like we're just on the other side of the end of the East Coast, and hell, we are in an Eastern time zone. Like, I feel like the Midwest starts halfway through Indiana, and is all of the Central time zone. And if you think like that, you'd be like, oh, okay, that all makes sense over there.
Yeah, because I'm notoriously like, I don't know what the fuck all this is in the middle. When I finally looked at where Ohio is, I'm like, oh, this is not where I thought it was, like, at all. But I also know that y'all are not super far from Illinois or Michigan, and I don't like those places feel more Midwest to me than Cleveland, than Ohio.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how everything, like I said, got laid out in this country, or at least cut up in this country for people's processes. Diana went with a nautical pie trio. This is where we learned she was a boat captain. Short crust base top with a flaky pie crust. 2 pies filled with cherries jubilee, and the top with an apple chamomile custard pie. I saw what she was going for. I don't know if I appreciated it, but I don't judge the program, so it's okay. Speaking of which, judging, Susan's up first here. A celebration of blueberries. Quite artistic, a bit too sweet for Prue. The hot water crust was probably the wrong call for that pie. It's good. It's just too thick, but Paul does like the flavor of the blueberry. And again, I immediately can sign off. So I know why she used the hot water crust. It's because you can build with it and you can shape with it real well, and everything would hold its form. But that is not a flaky pie crust that you'd want with a dessert filling. Just that you use that to make all those savory ones. That's what you make pork pies with. And so that's why Paul's like, I mean, it do taste all right, so I'm not gonna hate on your pie crust, but it's the wrong pie crust for this type of filling.
Like, it might have served her better to do that for the stuff she was building and then do a different kind of crust for the actual pies.
Yep. Exactly. Like she could have made a hot water crust basket and so forth and so on. And then, yes, that's just a shorter crust for, eating. Martin's up next. This was a fun bit of judgment here. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, the tarragon's quite overwhelming. Also, the pastry's a bit tough. In the apricot tier, well, you've knackered it.
Damn.
Too much rosemary. So then they're like, so did you fuck up this top tier?
He said about his own pie, he was like, you could roll this down the street. He knew that bitch was solid.
Hell yeah. Top tier, though, was absolutely delicious. The pastry balance is great with the filling. So he did have a good win amongst those things. And actually, I think they were like, well, you know what? It's doing exactly what he said it was going to do, and that's celebrate these herbs that he grows. And I'm like, you ain't wrong. So not good, but it did do what he said it was going to do. And I guess that's what happens to be right there. For Diana, bled through dramatically, rustic and attractive. And I've been hearing them do that a lot this go around, to call something rustic, but in a way that they can like appreciate its rusticity. I don't know what you want to use right there.
I didn't think it looked attractive, and that gold leaf looked tacky as hell.
Tacky AF, for real. Tart, a really lovely pie. The top, the apple is nicely done and thin. Could use a glaze. The pie texture is slightly overworked. For Nirali, wonderful. Loves the colors. It was so pretty, y'all. It shined in a way that I'm like, what was she using to make that work like that? Again, this is where I needed them to tell us what she was doing with a little more detail, because it was so fascinating to see, and I wanted to know how she did it. Bit of spice in the top layer, which was the paneer, which the cheese layer. Second layer, kind of salty, but Paul's like, kind of nice. Potato with Oh, potato with coconut is also quite nice. Again, I didn't even know coconut was in there until we got the judgment. 3 very interesting and different textures, and and taste, and just a good job. For Sarah, quite a hefty pastry. They literally, again, just like they did in the signature, here they did in the Showstopper. Basically, Sarah did it so right that there was no more conversation to be had. They was like, corn and meringue, surprising, and they like it. The texture similar to rice pudding. At their worst thing was the pastry maybe could have been baked a little longer, and then they just moved on for it. They didn't even discuss the other tiers of her pies. Sure, say that bitch ugly then, and tell me about her other fillings. But all you did was focus on this corn and cherry meringue because y'all thought I know it makes for an interesting bit of conversation, but also I need to know what happened to the rest of her pies because you judged everybody else on all their various layers. Let me know. Sean is up last. An impressive looking at a distance dessert, which also just like sound like another sneak diss by Prue Leith. I want you to know that.
That shit was leaning and it was bubbling and it was crust coming off of it if you looked up close.
Top one looks soggy. Once again, it's raw with an R at the end of it.
It's raw.
However, very, very nice flavor. But what they had said earlier as they were watching people, prepare these items, is like, we are here for the pastry. Them fillings might be hidden, but it's here for the pastry. And then they proved their point with my man's here. The
underbaked,
curry,
raw.
Yeah, for real. The curry smells and tastes amazing. Your fillings are incredible. Your pastry, not so good. Looks great, but... And there goes Sean. You're a star baker this week. I mean, if it wasn't clear, it was pretty much, in my opinion, she pitched the shutout this week, and it was Sarah. Because top to bottom, she did the damn thing. And I guess you could say Martin got close in technical, but that was about the only place he got close at. So
she did well. Unfortunately, I don't care for her, and I have watched the next episode and it didn't help either. I think there's something a little cocky about her that I find interesting since this is the first time she showed up in the competition.
It's the headband.
So she got Starbaker this week, and that led to her being cocky next week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess you should be cocky if you want Starbaker.
I found her cocky this week.
Oh no, I did not. She seems so annoyed this week to me, especially only time I said she did let them know, man. I don't know, man. The basketball seemed wild easy to me, and I'm like, I agree. Circles do seem easier than everything else, but that's about the only time I thought, because she really seemed kind of like, I don't know what the hell's going on with these churros. I don't think I've ever made a churro in my life, and she did like, and I think Ellie coming over to talk to her kind of helped her out, was to give her a little confidence, like, we eat corn.
Yeah, I think it's the thing of like, where have she been? This is the first time I even saw a glimpse of her personality. And maybe that's not entirely her fault. A lot of that could be the edit or whatever. But she was like, part of me is like, oh, did you play it safe? Or it was just you performing at the best of your ability and you were just middle the whole time. And so I'm happy to see her do well. But to me, in the next episode, I was like, oh, whatever that little hint of something was that tickled me in the wrong way, it got real loud in the next episode.
Fair enough. I will have to get down with the...
But I don't think it's arrogance in the way of, I don't know. We'll discuss it next week, obviously.
For sure.
And also, I think that they're starting to show more of the relationships with each other in the tent, which makes it feel more like the Across the Pond show, because I think there's this tiny bit of American individualism and competition that doesn't exist in the other show. And I think them more showing them like rooting for each other and her being really sad that her boy had to go. Like, it's starting to really, really feel like the other show to me.
Yeah. I liked seeing them hop up to help each other, like get cleaned
Yes.
up and get ready to get their hand tarts out earlier in the episode. And it's just like, oh, do you need some help getting that pie up here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, I got it. But I'm like, I'm glad everybody is it's what has always made the Bake Off an enjoyable program is because it's less competitive, even though it is competitive.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not that American exceptionalism or whatever. It's just like, let's have a good time and bake, y'all, and see what we
Because
can
I
do
don't
together.
feel like they are competing against each other. They're competing against the challenge.
The challenge, and trying to show the judges that they can do what they can do. Eliminated this week is Sean, which is to go from Star Baker to Eliminated in real short order, basically 2 weeks apart. But Paul pointed out I think he just reached the end of his technical know-how. But I think he just I truly think he just had a couple of bad breaks. I think a little longer in the oven, and those amazing tasting pies also end up amazingly filled pies end up being amazingly baked pies. And as a guy who has never used a deep fryer, it's like, I get it. I'm sure they probably gave you a little bit of advice, but also it's like, try your luck in the deep fryer. And so it was just, I think it was less his technical skill as opposed to other bakers who had go out at this stage. It was just more it was bad luck. Sorry.
Before I forget, and somebody writes in and clocks me, that Ted's Bulletin is on 14th and V. And U that y'all have been going to 14th and U.
Yeah, there's a parking garage like a street over, and sometimes on the low, if you just hit the side of the building, you can kind of hide a car back there without much bother.
It's like TV and U over there.
Yeah. Also, DC,
but you want to go to the one on Capitol Hill.
The longest crosswalks ever. I want you to know that.
And they're all different.
Not in a bad way. I like that it takes they give you like the full 60 seconds to cross the street, because sometimes you need it.
No, they're all different. Some of them go up to 90. It's crazy. I don't know exactly how they work. It's something that I've been meaning to look into, but people are always like, damn, they give you a lot of time to cross. I'm like, yeah, but when you're sitting in a car, you're going to be sitting for a long time too.
It's a walking town, people. It's a walking town. They kind of basically want you to go park that bitch and move on your feet or a city bike or something. Hey, we had some feedback this week. So let me dive over here to the Google Voice. And it's the homie Michelle. Just hit us up and let us know what's what. Hey friends, I finished the most recent Crim Pat. Loved it. Where one of the last things I heard was how Nick Ju is still watching from her phone. Shortly after I started watching the Juvie Tiny Desk Tiny Desk. Shortly after I started watching the Juvie Tiny Desk cast from my phone onto the TV, and I wonder if that might be an immediate solution for our good sis. That's all. I'll hear the answer next week. Miko Tortilla Advisor from a couple of weeks back. P.S. I was mortified listening to my awful audio. Don't know what was going on that night. Apparently, one bait puff too many. Bye.
Oh no!
I didn't think her voicemail when she called and Skim sounded that bad.
You sounded very fine. Thank you. We love the feedback.
So it's all to the good. So here's the thing: the Roku app is a bitch and will not stream unless you're streaming to another Roku device, either a Roku
you can't
or a Roku TV.
But thanks to my big brother, I now have my fucking Roku device, and I've been watching the show on a whole ass television for 3 weeks, 3 episodes,
a couple of weeks now. So we got Nick taken care of. Worry not. You know what I'm saying? We said we would, and we certainly did. What do you think of Roku? I mean, I know this has nothing to do with baking. What do you think of Roku as a device so far?
So literally all I've done is plug this bitch in and watch this show. So I added a few apps, but I haven't really, because I have my whole other setup. But I am very interested in the Tubi, and there's a Tubi channel loaded on there that I may start checking out. The interface I'm just kind of used to from staying in Airbnb and whatever, but it's cool. So far so good.
The Weird Al movie is pretty funny too on there. on Roku.
Oh, is that an exclusive Roku? I keep seeing it at every commercial break. The commercials are, I agree, the commercials are hot garbage, and they're the same ones over and over.
So the commercials I got this last go around is always a water pick.
Mm-mm.
It is always somebody's drug for something, and I kept seeing them advertise. What was the issue that they were talking to you about this go around? I don't know, but it's always some prescription drug. And then I don't know what the third commercial was, and I'm just like, why did y'all always advertise me prescription drugs for complications or diseases I simply don't have? And I'm like, why are you making drugs for such a specific, highly specific problem? What was for nose polyps?
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what?
Is that?
So
Do you get that from doing coke?
I have no idea. None at all. It's like it's a waste of advertising on me. Also, I'm not buying a water pick. Stop it.
Well, you should. I have a testimony about the water pick. Highly recommend.
All right. Well, at least see, I take that advice before I take the Roku trying to hustle one to me. and basically like, click this button. You can buy this bitch right now.
That terrifies me. What if I accidentally buy a vacation?
Well, I mean, it take more effort than just to click out to the shore.
but you know, I might be sitting on it and rolling over, and I just bought Ozempic.
You know how many times my dog has just laid on top of that remote and all of a sudden just turned the TV off or went to another app, and I'm like,
what the hell is going on?
Remote? Yeah,
right.
Constantly, man. So yeah, that's one thing I like to say. I get why they have such a tiny little remote. They're trying to be kind of Apple-esque in that regard, and it's like, sure, that's fine, but give me a full size remote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can get
I like the little sounds it makes too.
Yeah, you can go set a little your theme. They got a few themes in there you can kind of mess with if you were so inclined. I use the space theme myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I like the way that looks and the noises it makes. So, but they have the nicest of the Rokus. You can literally plug headphones into the remote control and listen that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a nifty little something that they do. Basically, I like Roku, y'all, and I've gotten very used to it, and it's basically how I watch everything at this point, including after I get done here when I go watch Star Trek: Strange New Worlds here in a little bit, because that's how we roll. What will be our poll this week, my folk?
Savory pie or sweet pie?
Sounds good. Did we get our results from last week?
I never go check the results. I guess I should start doing that.
Yeah.
After our Roku commercial.
Never even think to go look at it. Take it.
You peep how Diana has always like a very terrified look on her face, and then when the judges tell her she did something wrong, she'd be real incredulous, like super surprised at the fact that she did something wrong, but she'd be mad terrified whenever they taste it.
Like I said, when she seems so. Oh, that's not where I go to look at that. That's the wrong browser. She was so like, I killed it on these churros, and they was like, no, you did not.
And her face turned hella red.
Oh, Captain Diana, what are we gonna do with you? All right, episodes, and then we go into the episode, and we'll go into Bread Week here. Oh, that's technically the most recent one. Should I? Well, let's go look at it. So far, ain't nobody on the butter side up bread yet. But like I said, that episode just went up the other day. So let me bounce out and let's go look at Cake Week. And Cake Week, the question was, what's your BBQ cookout dessert or of choice, banana pudding or peach cobbler? And peach cobbler won that. Respect it.
The wetness won.
Let's go look at the Cookie Week episode. Cookies or biscuits? Because I love the turn of phrase biscuits, and biscuits won that, which just means. So that's what's calculating in our various little polls and so forth and so on. But like I say, if you listen to this, wherever you listen to it at, I know not everybody gets down Spotify, and I'm not trying to force your hand, but Spotify does have some features that you can play with a little more when it comes to the show. But listen to it wherever you get it from. Have a good time with it. Enjoy. Feel free to hit us up, 216-264-6311. That's 216-264-6311. You can call it, leave a voicemail. You can text it, which, trust me, is so much easier because you can kind of get your words together and just shoot a text message over. It's a little easier than right now than sitting there trying to write out an email, because it's just, you go to your little app and boom, there you go. But you can also email us, podcast@stagecrunchyMilk.com. I should probably check the email. Didn't do that. I'm so good about this shit normally. Was off my game today, I guess. Right.
We didn't even get an intro.
I mean, I kind of gave an intro, sort of.
I mean, like, we didn't.
Y'all.
That's what I mean.
You're absolutely correct. I kept it motherfucking moving, and I didn't. You can't tell me that at the end of the operation. You tell me that up front, so I could have handled it there.
My internet was seizing up. I was like, I can't even talk because I know I'm behind.
I did not introduce him. I'm saying that's Big Anthony. That's Nick Jew. The people is my folk. It's a fresh what's the tea up this week. Go get it.
I know our monthly show. We're at.
All to the good. The road to 500 is the episode we posted on Skim's feed today. That was us driving up to Detroit this past weekend, and it's interesting to hear how it sounds, because of course it sounds one way when we're on the highway, but as soon as we get off on the street, all of a sudden it sounds just like perfect. I'm like, that the highway makes so much of a noise that it's like in the background there, but then, like I said, it tightens up almost immediately when we get off the road. It's a fun episode. It's just us sitting in the car talking street dreams. So I think it's a fun listen. Next week, after the actual episode 500 will go up, and it too is a good time. So worry not, people. We podcast. That's what we do here. Savory Sweet Pie is your poll for this next week. What's our question of the week, y'all? Question of the week.
Who you inviting to the cookout?
I'm gonna say,
where
does the Midwest begin?
That's a good question.
So let us know. Get in on the poll, or just hit us up. Like I said, I will continue to give us to do just that. Stitcher Radio is going away. If you get this show on Stitcher Radio, Stitcher's going away in August. You might want to start looking for a new way to listen to the program. It stinks. Stitcher is where a lot of us got our start from, listening and hustling podcasts, and it will be missed. Capitalism, man, who knew? So that is what's popping right there. But again, that is a wonderful Nick Jew.
Thanks, Anthony, for letting me know I was rewatching the wrong episode. Some behind the scenes stuff that went on that
we still made it through.
We made it though.
I'm still standing. I'm still strong.
It's my man and Big Anthony.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
A little tip I learned from bacon: even when the recipe calls for butter, still add a teaspoon of oil to keep it moist.
Hey man, keep it moist, people. I'm gonna say 713. Churros should be a foot long. We'll catch y'all next week. Bye.
They come with $1.50 hot dog.
What happened to your ass? It used to be beautiful.